but I know that, you know, we've got our woman of the year sitting in the virtual green room back there. So I'm going to just stick around for a second. I'm going to step back right now so you can introduce her, and then I'll come back and say hi, and then I'm going to get out of the way.
Okay. Well, I'm so excited and just thrilled and honored to introduce Peggy McColl to you. If you don't know Peggy, oh my gosh, I want to say she needs no introduction at all, but I'm still going to tell you some of her highlights because she is amazing for so many reasons. Number one, she is a New York Times bestselling author. She is also an incredible coach. Oh my gosh. I have had the privilege of being in her classes as well. And she is somebody who gives, and talk about uplifting others and really, but also challenging them. She can be a tough coach. She's not just the easygoing, you know, oh, everything's fine. She's going to challenge you, which is what you really need. She is also a manifestation expert. Oh my gosh, we're gonna dig into this in a minute. But she also, I would say, one of her most proud, I want to say, titles or roles in life, or even you could say the hat she wears, is being a grandma. And so we'll have her talk about that some more. But her latest book, Savvy Wisdom, is about to be made into a major motion picture. And right now, and we can help manifest, she will be winning an Oscar for this amazing, incredible story that is based on her life. So Miss Peggy McColl, you are an amazing person, and I'm so happy that you are Woman of the Year with Now.
Oh, thank you so much, Jennifer. What a pleasure to be here with you. Yay! Oh my goodness.
Fun. I have the privilege of kind of walking you through some questions because I want the audience to, I know some people probably have never met you, which is, it's hard for me to believe, but I realize that, you know, there are a couple billion people. So first of all, let's share a little bit about, you started with your childhood. This new book, I learned so much about you because you started, Savvy Wisdom. There it is. It's so beautiful. Purple's my favorite color too.
My
gosh. There you go. And there's the Oscar. So, you know, I'm going to start backwards. Let's start in reverse. Let's start with Savvy Wisdom because it's the thing that you just did, and you have 19 books. However, these are all books that are very much nonfiction. And then all of a sudden, Savvy Wisdom, you decided to write this book, and it's loosely based on your life. So will you tell us a little bit about this?
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much, Jennifer. I appreciate that. You know, I love that you shared your story too. And you know, many authors, when they think about writing a book, they're concerned. And the concerns are, would anyone want to read it? And, you know, why would anyone care about my story? It's like you're sharing your story earlier. I actually had goosebumps so many times when you were speaking, Jennifer, because I relate. I remember hiding in the closet when I was a little girl, listening to my parents fighting. And so, you know, I'd released 18 books, and then this idea popped in my consciousness to write another book, but not any book, a fiction book, a parable. And I love parables. They're my favorite read. I just absolutely love reading parables. So when the idea came into my consciousness, I immediately dismissed it because I thought, I don't consider myself a great writer. You know, who am I to write that kind of book? And I've worked with many fiction writers and nonfiction writers. And many of my authors have also had their books go on to be movies or, you know, exciting things, trilogies and things like that occur. And so I just said to myself, well, Peggy, what if you believe that you could write a great book, and not just any book, but a book that would just take off like a rocket and have a positive impact on the lives of millions? And so I decided that I was not only going to write it, but I would write a great book. I would have a great time doing it, and that I would just be in the spirit of the outcome throughout the entire process. So I made a decision. I set a date for the deadline. I adjusted my attitude to be perfectly right for this kind of project, and I got on with the work, and it literally unfolded. It was such a bizarre experience because I never, as I said, written a parable before, or a fiction book. And what's wonderful about writing fiction is it can go anywhere you want. And Jennifer, you had said that it's loosely based on my life. There's a lot in here that is my life. Some of them has been modified slightly. There's some stories in there that happened, but they didn't happen the way they happened. But the majority of it is true. A large majority of the book is true and based on my life. And it starts with this young girl who wanted to end her life. And that was me. And that wasn't a one-time occurrence. I'd been thinking about ending my life for a long time. So it starts, in a very dark, painful event that occurred in my life, and how things evolved out of that place, out of the place of darkness into the light.
And into the light and into your yay. Let's start there, because I think that right now, as we celebrate women, there are, I know, families who are listening, and there are teenage girls who are just like you were as a teenage girl and thinking about ending their life. And I know it's I'm so proud of you for going there, because so often, people just want to avoid the really tough subjects. And I think that's how it becomes a bigger problem, is when we don't talk about it. So what would you say to a teenage girl who's watching us right now and thinking about life doesn't seem very yay, it doesn't seem very happy? What could you say?
Yeah, that's so true. And, in our country alone, the suicide rate is four times what it was before. And the story in here goes that there's actually 3 different individuals that were suicidal in this book. One of them was my mom. And she did try and kill herself at one point. I was 14 years at the time. And I won't give away the whole thing. But what I would say is there's always something to be grateful for, always. And you just have to find it, even if it's just a place that just causes you to feel a little bit better. A little bit better is something that's worthwhile. Also, Jennifer, when you're talking about what your mom had said to you, like about you being born, and I really believe that parents don't understand the impact of those comments on their children. And they're only saying it because they're in pain. And the truth is that hurt people hurt people. And so your mom was in pain, and she was trying to escape from that pain. And so for whatever reason that you're consumed in pain, whether you were hurt like Jennifer was, or hurt the way I was, I had a very similar experience to you, Jennifer. Just understand, hurt people. They were hurt too. And the ones that really need love the most probably deserve it the least, right?
It's true.
Everyone needs love. Everyone needs love. And even as a child, as a teenager, as an adult, we can be the source of that for other people. This is the reason why I got it to do the work that I'm doing today, is because I was in so much emotional pain that I didn't want to live. And it's not a wonderful place to be. And when I got myself out of that pain into a happy place, I made a decision. I'm going to help other people too. And I know I'm not the only one on the planet, but I've been studying this for so long that I've completely transformed my own life, that now it's just a part of my DNA. It's a part of who I am. I'm absolutely committed to help anyone and everyone that I possibly can on this earth. And what a blessing that we're connected here via the internet, because there are over 4 billion people online. There's almost 8 billion in the planet, but over 4 billion people online. So it gives us all an opportunity to connect. And I would also say, connect with someone, talk to somebody about it. Just have a conversation about it. There's so much support that's available for anyone that's in that struggle position, unlike the way it was, many, many years ago. I mean, I was 17 a long time ago. So, but nowadays there's so much support, so much available. Reach out for help, and just within your own consciousness, go to that place of, what am I grateful for in my life, and find something.
And one thing also about your book, if you would tell a little bit about the 2 characters, because one of them, of course, is based on you, and then the other one is based on Bob Proctor, which I'm sure a lot of people know about Bob. But talk about that relationship you had, and how it changed your life, as well as it's, again, we only get little highlights in the book, because the book is so beautiful, and so well written, but so fast. It goes away so fast. You're like, wait a minute, I wanted more.
Oh, there'll be more. There definitely will be more savvy wisdom. Savvy is a character, SAVY. It's not the word savvy. It's a name, which actually stands for initials. But you have to read the book. You'll find out in the end what SAVY stands for. But savvy is this gentleman, this wise elderly gentleman. that Sophie, that's the main character that's based on my life. And so Sophie is in the park one day and she's crying, she's distraught, she's going to end her life. And she went there early morning because she really didn't want to see anybody. And she doesn't notice that there's somebody sitting at the end of the bench. And she's bent over and she's crying hysterically. And all of a sudden, at the corner of her eye comes this embroidered handkerchief. And so she grabs the handkerchief, to blow her nose and wipe her face because she didn't have anything at the time. And then happens to notice it's embroidered. And it says, if you want your life to change, you must change. And think about that. If you want your life to change, you must change. And this is what Bob Proctor said to me the very first time I met him. I met him when I was a young lady. And fortunately, I was mandated, you must go to this session. I was working for a company in Toronto at the time, and they had hired Bob as the keynote speaker. Now, interestingly enough, Bob had quit the business. He had decided no more. He wasn't going to do it anymore. I don't know what happened for him, but he just said, I'm not in the business anymore. And he was down in Atlanta. And the director of the company I was working for managed to find him and called him and said, Bob, you got to come up here. We want you to run some seminars for our company. He's like, no, I'm not doing that business anymore. And they said, like, no, we really need you. Anyways, he's like, oh, what the heck? So he decided to come up and do the seminar. And I was in the audience. And that's when I met him. And I've developed such a strong relationship with Bob. I consider him a friend, a mentor. We've had a business together for several years. We ran a business together. We're not now, but we were for quite a while. And he has taught me so much about life, the potential, and so much about how we, all of us, can just do more, be more, have more, and experience more in our life. And he's an absolute blessing.
Well, and one of the things that you also teach a lot as well about manifesting what you want in your life. There's two things. Now, one, I'm just going to tease the first one, but I want you to share the story about how you manifested this amazing husband that you have. But that was second. First, one thing you shared recently that I just adored, and you're so great at sharing stories, was you decided you wanted to give a gift to Bob. And, one of the paradigms, which I heard more than once from my parents, was money does not grow on trees. And so many times I was told, money does not grow on trees, and you can't have this, and we can't afford it, all of these things. And you gave Bob a money tree, right?
Yes, that's right. For his 86th birthday, which was his last birthday. And I mean, every time it gets closer, we're coming up to Bob's birthday again. It's July 5th. And we're thinking about, what do you get Bob Proctor, the guy who has everything, right? And I think it's a challenge for those that are close to him. It's definitely a challenge for his family members. And so the idea came into my consciousness, make him a money tree. And I didn't make it personally. I actually have a girlfriend who's extremely talented in crafts. And so I told her what I was looking for. And I went to the bank and I took out $1,000 cash, and I asked for hundreds and 50s and 20s and 5s and 10s, because they're all colorful in Canada, right? We have very colorful money. And she made flowers. Well, they're kind of like leaves on a tree, and put it into this beautiful plant, decorated it up. It was spectacular. And he absolutely loved it. And it's a challenge to get Bob surprised, or have Bob be surprised with a gift. But that's what I gave him for his 86th birthday.
And I think that's a perfect symbol of what he has, he's helped you get rid of the idea that money doesn't grow on trees. Because look, you made a money tree.
That's true. I mean, how many people heard that when they were younger? I certainly did. And so he loved it. I love it too. And it's true. There's an abundance. Now, I didn't have that mentality years ago, but I certainly have it now.
And the other one I wanted you to share, especially because I know we have so many women who are listening who want to manifest that amazing partner that will support them in their dreams and what they want to do. And I know that the thing that I admire is I've heard you tell so many stories about him, as I don't want to say, he is so supportive of everything you do that it's just like having the best partner. And you guys don't do exactly the same things. You do your thing, he does his thing, and you have this amazing relationship together. And so I would love for you to share, for anyone who's out there who's thinking, I want that perfect marriage, that perfect mate, and maybe perfect isn't the right word, but the right mate, the person who's there with you. So how do you manifest that, Peggy?
Yeah, you could call it perfect for sure. I mean, it's perfect the way you define it, right? So I
Wow.
had gone through a divorce, and I found myself at a point where I had a realization that previously I had a belief that I wasn't worthy of love. So I decided to build that belief system within me. In order to attract love, you must be loved and believe you're worthy of love. So I developed that belief. It took time. But then I got to a point, it's like, okay, I'm ready. I'm really ready for a happy, loving, committed, fun, fully enjoyable, respectful relationship in my life. So I defined what would it be like? What would it feel like? And then in my mind's eye, I saw myself with my significant other. And a couple of my girlfriends would say to me, well, go online, get on those dating sites. And I was like, nah, I just don't feel compelled to go there. Nothing wrong with them. I think they're fabulous. And this is a number of years ago now. Danny and I have been together over 16 years. So they were still new. So it was kind of like fresh idea. Not that I'm not open to fresh ideas, but I wasn't feeling attracted to it. And then another girlfriend would say, well, then let's go to the bars. Let's hit the bars. And it's like, nah, I'm not interested in going to the bars. And they're like, what do you think? He's just going to show up at your door? And I said, listen, how he's going to show up is not my responsibility. My responsibility in order to manifest is to decide what I would love and then to feel as if I have it in my life right now. And however he's going to show up, he's going to show up. So a few days later, I went out walking my dog and just went around the corner in my neighborhood. And there was a little dog tied up on a front lawn because somebody was moving in. And there were boxes, so you could tell what was going on there. And all of a sudden, my dog's going to this dog, and this gentleman walks out the front door, and I saw him there, and I thought, ooh, that looks nice. And I appreciate nice looking things. And then he came out and we started chatting, and he told me that he had just moved here. He was with the military. He was in the military, moved to Ottawa. I live in Ottawa now. And he was a pilot, and he was transferred here to fly the Prime Minister. That was his new responsibility. And so we chatted, and then he said, well, let me grab the leash and I'll take my dog for a walk. It wasn't his. He was actually taking care of someone's dog for a few months while they were trying to find another place to live. And so we went for a walk, and he knew where I lived, and we had a lovely chat. And I remember thinking, this is the kind of guy that I would like. I wasn't thinking him specifically, but I liked, what I was hearing. I felt really good energy with him. And then a couple of days later, my doorbell rang, and it was him. And he was standing there, and he said, listen, I just got a call from the squadron. I have to go fly the Prime Minister. It's a day trip. Could you watch the dog? I can't find the dog sitter. And would you watch the dog? And I'll come and get him tonight. I said, sure, bring him in. So the dog came in, and then that night, Danny came back from his trip, and I said, come on in for a coffee, and he did, and the rest is history. So 16 and a half years later, we're still together. And so he showed up at my door, and it was interesting that my friend had said to me, what do you think? He's just going to show up at your door? And I said, I don't know, like maybe, but it's a possibility. And that's the thing. We just got to be open to possibilities when we decide on what we would love.
And that's one of the things that, I just saw in some of the comments, someone just asked about the handkerchief.
Yes.
Did you end up making the handkerchiefs? I don't remember.
Yeah.
You did? Okay, good.
Yeah, I had them made.
Yay! So how can they get that handkerchief? Go to PeggyMcColl.com?
I don't sell them.
Oh, okay.
But, I did order a few. I found a place on Etsy, and I ordered a bunch because when the book came in, I sent one to Bob, and I sent one to a few other people. And so I have a few here. I'll send you one, Jennifer. Send me your address.
Thank you.
You've been so good to me. You were so kind. I really appreciate you. So I happily send you one if you would like. Oh, and Teresa, of course.
Look who walked in. I know backwards. I'm in the middle. That is hilarious. So I think Teresa wants one too.
Of course.
No. Yeah, of course I want one. Of course I want one. You two are awesome. I mean, I could sit here all day and just listen to the stories and how you make your journey. Miss Peggy, I call you Miss Peggy. And we are probably 6 months apart in age, but it's more of a respect level for what you've done, not as a female entrepreneur, but as an entrepreneur and an author and just a leader. And the one thing I got from the very first minute I got the opportunity to speak to you is it seems like there are no small voices in your world. It doesn't matter whether you're, king of some country or you're just starting out in your journey, if somebody is focused, you're one of those people that I got the impression you'll just stop and give them that minute and listen, because who knows, this could change their life. You're fantastic. And Jennifer is just the glue that keeps us all together. I'm just going to say it. You love this? It's like cross framed. I want to thank you both. And I want to thank you for being our Woman of the Year.
Thank you. We
got to get you on full screen. Look at that.
So
yay! As Jennifer was saying,
yay! Thank you so much.
I thank you so much. I thank you both so much for coming and sharing this event with us. I hope when the stage is open and we do this next year, you can actually come live to Las Vegas. I think it would be awesome. It would be fantastic. And I think Miss Peggy, I think you heard me say that in June 1st, we're going to launch the Now for Life community. We're going to do a 5-day challenge on getting out of your own way, taking action right now. And I hope if you have time during those 5 days, we haven't picked the time of day and all that. One of those days, if you could swing by, because I learn something from you every 5 minutes that I talk to you.
You know what? I love the idea, get out of your own way. I could write a book on get out of your own way.
Hey, we can co-author it. I think Jennifer would jump in too.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a bestseller for sure.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Jennifer, for coming and hanging out. Your brother, Gregory, has been here all day. I thank him so much for hanging out. We're going to have to make him an honorary dude of now because he's a part.
Yeah, because he wrote a song for Peggy. So we should play his song next time.
We'll play his song when Miss Peggy comes back for the Now Challenge. We'll play his song if it's okay with Gregory. We'll play his song to introduce her then, because he is definitely one of the nows. We're going to have to come up with like a hyphen, now -G for guy or something. I thank you, ladies. Have a great, great day. You are amazing.
You too, Teresa. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Peggy. Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you.